for San Antonio.
Joe Rios with the San Antonio Police Department Public Information Office. On today's show, we're going to be talking to you about two things. We're going to take you out on patrol with one of our officers, and also we're going to talk about a new policy that San Antonio Police Department is going to be implementing. You don't want to miss this show. Stay tuned, because up next after this break, we're going to be talking to the men and women who are patrolling our streets day in and day out. Like I said before, you don't want to miss this.
Couples, families, a whole community. They all need clean water, which is why SAWS has worked with environmental and community partners to clean up Mitchell Lake. Clean water. It's important to all of us. For more information on this and other SAWS environmental programs, visit us at saws.org or call 704-SAWS.
Miren lo que encontré.
¿Qué es eso?
Parece la panza de alguien. A lo mejor la perdió caminando por la playa.
You got garbage in your hand, man. Find yourself a garbage can. Don't throw your trash on the road. Don't throw your trash on the road. Don't throw your trash on the road. Don't mess with Texas.
Para un ambiente mejor, para un futuro mejor, recicle ahora. Tenemos que cooperar para este mundo cambiar. Recicle ahora y mañana ya verán que el ambiente sí se mejorará. Haga su parte y ayude a reciclar, porque el ambiente tenemos que limpiar. Haga una rutina del reciclaje.
During the roll call briefing, the supervisor will give each officer their assignment and pass along important information from the previous shift. Once roll call is complete, officers will find their assigned vehicles and conduct a vehicle inspection, making sure the patrol units are gassed up and ready to go. To begin the tour of duty, officers will sign onto their laptops to mark. First call of the day is for an individual threatening to hurt himself. Officers take appropriate action in approaching the location. Once outside and able to make contact, officers will contact a supervisor and get information on how to handle the situation.
Okay. Yeah, and I know the management here, but they don't work on weekends.
But I've got Mike is my partner, and actually my cover, and he's looking for the maintenance right now because I do know that the maintenance guy lives on property, and I'm hoping that maybe he has a key. So we're doing that right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. You can identify the guy or whatever. Let me know.
Unable to make contact with the individual, Officer Lopez contacts local residents to alert police officers that the individual is seen again in the location. Upon completion of the call, officers relocate to another location to begin writing reports about the situation. While taking the time to write the reports, officers still must remain vigilant of their surroundings and be aware of what's happening around them. Like we see here, this individual caught our attention by spinning his tires erratically into this parking lot. Officer Lopez makes contact, identifies the driver, and checks for any wants or warrants on the individual before writing a citation. A routine check of the individual returns clear, and Officer Lopez continues on with his citation. But when asked, the suspect does offer up an explanation for his actions.
Said some lady was tailgating him, and he got upset, so he turned out. Are you still on Westville? You're over here, right? What apartment number you at? 160 what?
Upon completion of the citation, Officer Lopez will assign a court date for the individual to answer to a judge for his offense, and also sign and date the ticket. Officer Lopez advises the driver of the court date and allows him to sign the ticket. Here's a few tips to follow while being stopped by a police officer.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Kayla. Come and play.
Oh, sweetie. Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
You're at a young age where you want to be free, you want to be spontaneous, you want to go out and be with your friends. You can't do that with a baby.
My dream is to be a pediatrician because I really do want to take care of babies, but I'm not ready to have one right now.
Be the next Michael Jordan and just play ball.
Waiting is worth it.
Because I'm worth it.
Because I'm worth it.
Because I'm worth it.
Very impressive, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Thought he was pretty good. I think we've got enough color around here. 2 points. And who's next?
You drop this.
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
Officer officers are called back out to the location for the same individual causing a disturbance earlier. This time, they're able to gain entry and access to the suspect. The suspect will be transported by a paddy wagon to a local hospital for a mental evaluation. Officers assist the suspect get in the vehicle and await his transport to the local hospital.
If your brother takes from you, you give to him. And if he slanders you, you think it's lazy. But if he ever messes with Texas, pray for him, brother. Pray for him. Pray for him.
On February 20th, 2003, our daughter Rolanda was a victim of domestic violence. Her husband killed her, then himself. Don't wait for your situation to turn deadly. Please reach out, seek help. Call 733-8810.
Colorful cultural entertainment will be offered this summer as the Parks and Recreation Department's Fandango and Alamotion dance troupes perform in Bravo, an evening of song and dance. The shows are emceed by local radio personality Elizabeth Ruiz, and the guest artists include Erica Gonzaba and the famous mariachis Campanas de America. Join us for great family entertainment at Bravo, an evening of song and dance. For more information, call 207-3000 or visit us at sanantonio.gov/parksandrec.
Yippee-yi-ki-yo, get along, little doggy. Would you look at this mess? If I ever get my hands on the yahoos responsible for messing up these beautiful Texas roads, I'm gonna... moo, moo.
I didn't know longhorns could talk.
Me neither.
Horses, I've seen horses talk.
And pigs. Remember that movie?
That was a great movie.
I love that pig.
Hey, Dee. Hey, Julie, what's up? I was wondering if you could help me with that home ec project.
So what's the project? How to make white bread?
Why doesn't she ask one of her other friends?
Yeah. Why don't you just leave?
Sorry.
Why you gotta be like that? Julie.
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
Welcome to today's show. On this segment of the show, we're going to be talking about the non-insured motorist policy that the San Antonio Police Department is implementing. My guests today are Lieutenant Scott Bell and Officer Mike Tucker. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Would you like to
Nice to be here. I'm Lieutenant Scott Bell with the San Antonio Police Department, and I'm the unit director for the vehicle storage facility. My responsibilities include overseeing basically the record operations for the entire city. And I'm actually in command of two different facilities. One of my facilities is the 9th Street Pound, which is located close to the Alamo Dome. And the second facility is the Ground Pound, which is located off of Ground Road, close to Highway 9 West.
Officer Tucker.
I'm Officer Mike Tucker. I've been with the San Antonio Police Department for approximately 15 years. I work at the 9th Street Pound in the record unit where I oversee the towing contract with Texas Towing.
Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Okay, well, welcome to the show, Lieutenant Bell and Officer Mike Tucker. Lieutenant, we're talking about this non-insured motorist towing policy that the San Antonio Police Department is implementing. Can you tell us why we're implementing this policy?
Yes, Joe, the reason we're implementing this policy is to protect all the drivers of San Antonio. What I'd like to do is give you some financial figures to kind of put in perspective exactly what an accident costs. First of all, if you've got a motor vehicle accident or you have minor bodily injury, the average cost is going to be about $13,900. If you have a vehicle accident where you have property damage, your cost is going to be about $6,000. And finally, your average cost for a vehicle accident involving serious bodily injury or death runs $790,000 plus. And that really illustrates the cost that's associated with an accident, and really kind of leads me into an example of why. Let me go ahead and give you an example I think that will clearly illustrate. Well, let me say this. This really leads us into our example of why we need this policy. If we have a family of four who is driving a motor vehicle down a public way in San Antonio, and let's say that an uninsured motorist driving another vehicle runs a red light and hits the family of four that's in their vehicle. Now, for purposes of this example, let's say that this driver, the driver of the family of four, is the main breadwinner for that house. He's the one that puts food on the table for the family. He's the one that pays all the bills. Now, as a result of that accident, we're going to say that he's paralyzed. Okay. Now, because this uninsured motorist does not have insurance, it really puts the family in a precarious position. They've got a lot of bills that they cannot pay, and this really illustrates the need for having this policy in effect. The bottom line of it all, Joe, really is this, is that driving is a dangerous activity, and we kind of take that for granted because of the fact that we drive every day. However, when we get behind the wheel of a vehicle, we put not only ourselves at risk, we put others at risk as well. And this really bears repeating because this is the essence of the policy. Not only do we put ourselves at risk, we put others at risk as well. And that's why it's imperative that we get all of the drivers in San Antonio to be insured.
Also, I wanted to ask, is there a state law associated with this policy?
Yes, there is. As most of us are aware, state law requires that any time we operate a vehicle on a public way, we are required to have liability insurance or proof of financial responsibility. Also, with regards to this policy, the other question would involve the legality of the police impounding vehicles for no liability insurance. And the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has made a ruling in this matter and has determined that police departments are within their rights to impound vehicles for no liability insurance.
Are we the only city that's starting this or doing this?
No, we're not the only one. DeSoto, Texas has been impounding vehicles for no liability insurance for about 7 years. In addition to that, Kirby has a similar policy, and also the city of Dallas has also a policy as well, although their criteria are somewhat different. Right now, the city of San Antonio is pretty much leading the state with regards to this policy. However, I believe that you'll see all the other major cities within Texas follow our lead shortly. And I think also nationally as well, you're going to see a trend heading towards this direction in similar manner of being proactive enforcement.
What are the fees associated with towing and impounding?
Okay, first off the bat, you're going to have a towing charge of $69. On top of that, you'll have a one-time impoundment fee of $20. And this includes the cost for the police department to secure and protect that vehicle. And finally, you're going to have a daily storage fee of $15, and that accumulates daily, so you'll have an additional $15 charge per day that the vehicle sits on our lot.
Yeah, and where exactly do we store the vehicles that we impound?
The vehicles that we impound will be located at Groudon Pound. The physical address of Groudon is 3625 Groudon Road. And as far as where that's at, if you start from Highway 90 West, where it intersects with Acme Road, if you head on to Acme Road south from Highway 90, Acme Road will eventually turn into Groudon Road, and there's a large sign off of Groudon Road which tells you where to turn onto our facility. Now, it's important also to note that whenever officers impound a vehicle, they will present the person who is the driver of the vehicle. They'll present them with a card. On the front of the card, you'll have the phone number for Groudon Road, or for the Groudon Road facility. And on the back, you'll have a map which illustrates exactly how to get to the facility, so it'll help to eliminate any confusion with that regard.
Okay. Could you give us an example of an impoundment and also the explanation of how to get the vehicle back?
Sure. Let's say, for example, that an officer pulls over a vehicle for a traffic violation. As he approaches the vehicle, he's going to ask the driver for their driver's license and for proof of their insurance. And let's say, for purposes of this example, that the driver of the vehicle says, well, I'm insured, but I don't have it with me. Well, technically that is a violation because state law requires that when you drive a vehicle that you have proof of insurance with you. However, under this policy, our officers are going to make every effort to attempt to validate within reason, to attempt to validate that this driver does have insurance. An example might be calling, if it's during normal business hours, to call the insurance company on the phone to see if we can establish that they do have a policy and to get a policy number. Or another example might be that the officer will attempt to contact the family of the driver to see if they can bring something to the scene to validate the fact that the driver does have insurance. Now let's proceed further with this example here, and let's say that the driver does not have insurance. At that point, the vehicle will be impounded, and as I stated earlier, it will be relocated to our physical address of 3625 Crowden Road, and will be at that facility. Now, it'll be the responsibility will be on the owner of the vehicle to go out to our facility as soon as possible, because as I said, the charges continue to accumulate, so they want to get out there as soon as possible. But if they want to drive the vehicle off of our lot, they're going to need to provide their driver's license, which helps us to establish who they are, and proof of ownership, and then also proof of liability insurance. And then after paying all the required fees, the fees that we just discussed, the record fee, the impoundment fee, and employee storage fee of $50 per day, then that vehicle will be released to leave the property.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I think you gave us a lot of information that we can give to our viewers. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, sir. There's one thing I'd like to add. With any policy, any successful policy, there's a lot of people who are involved in making it happen, and that's the case with this policy as well. However, there's two people I believe that deserve a special mention. The first person will be Officer Mike Tucker, who's sitting here on my right, who this great idea originated with him, and so we're very grateful for his work with this policy. He did a great amount of research on both the Transportation Code and the Occupations Code to make sure that everything was done correctly. So we owe him a debt of gratitude for that. And finally, I'd also like to thank Chief Rosemary Flammia, because she has put a very substantial amount of her time and her effort into making this policy happen. Had it not been for her efforts and for her dedication to this policy, then I do not believe this policy would have reached fruition. So the citizens of San Antonio owe her a debt of gratitude for her work in this area. And finally, Joe, I'd just like to say that this policy really takes the high moral and legal ground, and it really is the right thing to do. I'd like to thank the citizens of San Antonio for their overwhelming support of this policy. And as I stated earlier, other jurisdictions that have taken similar proactive measures to this policy have achieved great success with it. I anticipate that we will achieve the same results here, and we will all benefit as a result. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Lieutenant Bell and Officer Mike Tucker for being on the show. Also, if you'd like more information on what we talked about today, visit the link you see below to get more information. Also, stay tuned for scenes from the next Behind the Badge. On behalf of Chief Albert Ortiz and members of the San Antonio Police Department, I'm Officer Joe Rios. You be safe, San Antonio.